Akhtar, ladies and gentlemen. And Farhan, and I'm going to facilitate it. So Karan, this story was an idea that you had spoken to me about quite a few years back, and it's been something which has been festering in your mind for a while. You had an opening scene, which is, I think, the prologue of the book, and so what's been the process from there till here? Oh wait, I'm going to get next. Just one more.
Thanks, Alec. Yeah, so I remember starting off with an idea about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and our good friend and collaborator of many projects and all sorts of things, Somil, and I sort of thought we should write a screenplay and try and attempt a film on this subject. It was a bit of a statement we wanted to make. It was highly political. It was highly sensitive, I guess, at some level. And we started writing it as a film. We got pretty far, and then 2014 happened, and the government changed, and the country changed, and somehow we just knew that this film is not going to get made anytime soon. So we kind of abandoned that project at that point. But I felt, in the publishing world, we can still get away with a lot because, unfortunately, or fortunately, we don't have too many readers who have too many opinions all the time, like the way they have on film and cinema. So I thought, let me just go sort of under the radar and still get those ideas out in as clear a manner as possible. And so that's why I took Somil's permission to write a book on it, and he let me have it, and I did.
And we're here today, so that was great. Was there any event that has inspired or triggered your curiosity? A particular event that comes to you?
I think every day there are events in Kashmir, and I think we are all part of it. We are all in it. Kashmir is our problem. People don't, it's very easy to sit away from our country's issues and speculate, but I think it's very immediate. It's right. It's something that's very palpable. So there's no one event, but the more you get into it, the more you read about it and what's happening, and try and see the different points of view. I think anyone with any kind of creative streak has something to say about it. I know Farhan did.
I'm just going to come to you, Farhan. You made a film called Laksh, which was on a similar film, also about the protagonist kind of coming of age. And so, what is it about this issue that you feel you want to put on a film? Second film at the age of 30.
Right, yeah. Firstly, my apologies for being a little bit late. I got stuck in traffic getting here. And while I was arriving here, I was going to tell Karan that his next thriller should be about a man who needs to go across Mumbai at rush hour time. He has only 2 hours to defuse a bomb, save his family, do something really, really important. Will he make it? I think is a.
I think everyone knows the answer to that.
Biter.
No. He will not die because of the traffic.
It's a 5-page book. As far as Laksh is concerned, it's something that really, as an idea, was conceptualized in the mind of my father. He had been to Kargil in the year 2001, I think, for Kargil Divas, and where you lay a wreath at the memorial that's made there for the fallen soldiers. And while he was there was an officer that he met who spoke to him at length and told him, that there is so much praise for the Indian Army at this point, and people are saying that really we are like at the pinnacle of courage, the examples for of nationalism, of pride in our country, of sacrifice for our country. But it's really unfortunate that with all this praise that's coming our way, every single year the number of officers enrolling into the army seem to be becoming less and less. So it's just, people are just saying it, but nobody's really following up, on it. And that's when he decided he wanted to write a film that would inspire people to join the army, and that's how Luck started. Of course, making it was an eye-opener for me, because there's nobody really from my immediate family who has any kind of army background. So I had to learn a lot about it. And when you learn, I mean, you realize most importantly the serious amount of pride that those people have, in their country, in their people, in their national identity. And it doesn't matter where you send them. You could send them to Kashmir, you could send them to different parts of India, you could send them for emergencies, for relief work, and they're always there, no questions asked, to really serve us, so that we have more comfortable, easier lives. And that was my biggest learning really from it. So it's very different from the book. It's a very different experience, but it was truly a lot of learning for me about that region, and of course about the army.
So as a writer, you are both prolific writers now, and so how does your process go about, when you have to write a book? Writing a film is, a lot of people get involved, there's a collaboration that happens. But in a book, it's just you alone, kind of just going down with it. So please tell us a little about that.
Yeah, I mean, I I really enjoy writing. That's my favorite process of filmmaking also, amongst so many things that happen in film. And one of the most fun things about writing and collaborative writing, especially like in a writer's room sort of setup, is it's a lot of physical workout, because you end up beating the other guys up for like that one line or that one idea, and you're always wrestling, and you are walking out and throwing things and throwing tantrums. So that's really fun, and it's for the best. I mean, you just get the best of the ideas sort of filtering through, right? With the book, it was, I just wanted to try something, so I just locked myself up in a room for a while, on and off, in between filming or writing other things, and I just let it come together like the way I wanted it, and I didn't get too many opinions on it, like unlike film where a lot of people have a say in what you're writing and things, because it's reaching out to a much larger audience. There's a lot more at stake over there. So I just wanted to do this in my little personal way. This is my thing. I just wanted to get it out. It's incredibly lonely, and and you're just tearing yourself up, and you have a lot of self-doubt sort of creeping in at every moment. I think there are lots of writers here, so they know what I'm talking about, and you just have to go with it.
Sorry, but if I may add, I feel like as lonely as the process is physically, you're never really alone, because you're constantly with the characters that you're writing. And like he said, I mean, like you argue with, if you're working with co-writers, you argue and you debate with them. Similarly with characters when you're writing, the same thing happens even with that, because at times you'll write stuff and then you come back the next day and you read a page and you're like, yeah, what is this? What's going on. So it's and you actually are hardest on yourself in writing. When you're directing, which I mean Karan also has done very successfully, when you're directing, the thing is that there's so many other people involved that you actually end up doing the best that you possibly can, given everybody's temperament and given everybody's aesthetic and sense of performance. There's only that much you can do. Right. But when you're writing, you're really, really hard on yourself. Like the critical factor should really be up there, because you only have yourself,
as a judge.
Absolutely.
As the best judge.
So the more time you give and the more effort you put, and the more you're willing to grapple with those ideas, and just really, really try to get the best out of what you want. It's tedious, but I mean it's an amazing process when it comes together well.
So what's the one thing about his writing style that you really like?
Well, it's
Storytelling ability.
I think it's unique. I think what does set him apart, whether it's the film that he wrote for us, it's the show that he's done, and now this book. I think what he has, his unique voice. And I think that's the most important thing that you can look for in any kind of creative force. It's very easy to write scripts that are doing the rounds right now. Aaj love stories chalti hai, come on, let's write a love story. Now thrillers are working, chalo, let's write a thriller. Comedies are the flavor of the season, let's get, you know what I mean? It's very easy to do that. Good and bad is a separate issue, but it's easier to do it because everyone's doing it. So you can fit in more easily. But if you're choosing to do things that are different from what is happening, and that there is a certain risk involved, and when that risk does pay off, like I think on a huge level when he came to us with Inside Edge, you know, and the story that they had created, it was very risque, you know, and we knew that there'll be certain feathers that might get ruffled along the process of doing it. But there was a serious belief in the material that he had written, and he had a vision for how he wanted to make it. And the writing was something that you don't get to read in at least in the Indian web series or TV series context. So that bravado, you know, and that unique style, I think, is definitely his USP for writing.
Mike's kind of got
Thanks.
speak to you, but no, no, it's okay. So Karan, this actually started off as a film script, and would you ever like to make a film out of this, or would you want to do a series out of it? If
Yeah, right now I'm super disillusioned with the whole film scene. Sorry, but it's. I just enjoy this whole series thing a lot. It's like why tell a story in 2 hours when you have 10 hours to develop your characters, and they don't even have to go from like a start to an end. You know, and all films sort of follow some kind of formula, whether it's like a setup, and then you have a crisis coming in, you have a resolution, and then you have a climax. So none of that applies in a series. Yeah, yeah, and then you have to do many things around it, like, you know, like put in songs and things like that. Not always, but if the bigger the film, the more safe I think you have to be with it. I think with the series there's a lot less pressure, and above all, I think it's just so much. It's easier in terms of how liberating it is without Palaj Nani sort of looking over your shoulder, and you know, even while writing a script, you're thinking, what will the censor board say about it, and just the natural way I think people speak, for example, you want to capture that. You can't do that in film or screenwriting, I think, enough. So there's a certain template that goes into filmmaking because of many extraneous factors that should not be there in the first place, especially with censorship, and I think that, well, so far, there's none of that happening. So yeah, so any day I think a book like this would make a very interesting series, like in the Homeland kind of space.
Alright.
Yeah.
Karan, which are the few shows that you really like abroad, and what's the time series?
Which are the shows that I like abroad? Well, I mean, I've been watching many over the years. The one that I've recently watched and I've enjoyed very much is Mindhunter. Yeah, that's the one. I've just kind of finished the first season, watching that. So that's the most recent one, I think.
So, I thought the end of the book was kind of lend itself to a sequel organically. So, what's the plan there?
There is no plan. There's never a plan.
I
for a
smell a
sequel.
franchise.
I remember we have this conversation at the end of every film. Yeah, so.
But you end your stuff like that, even in
Yeah, well,
Inside Edge.
yeah. No, Inside Edge for sure. There's gonna be a second season because
Yeah,
we want that too.
Inside Edge has a season 2, guys.
Officially.
Yes, it's official now. Okay. So, this could
Maybe, never say never.
never say never. Alright. So, alright, I have to do this. Farhan knows now. And
Please don't sit rapid fire.
So, we have a little thing which is kind of written for the book, which I'm going to read out as a trailer for a movie. Since yeah, and I'm just going to do it in a. I'm just going to say it, okay? Kashmiri Nama's quest is to answer that one question, which the citizens of India, Pakistan, and even the world are now grappling to answer. What is the cost of Kashmir? I think, but I don't know. Alright, sorry. I know what that sounded like. I have no clue what that sounded like. I've never heard that voice before myself.
All I can say is that you all didn't need to wait for me. You all could have started early.
Alright.
Alright, so with that, let's unveil the book now, yeah?
Kind of veiled.
Yeah, we're going to unveil an actual book.
Okay.
We're going to have you read for us, just like a page or two. So let's have you unveil the book, Karan. Come. Oh, wait, we can move that. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
sir. Sir, you're right, sir. The left side. Three of you left side. Sir. Alright, sir. Left side. Right, sir. Left side, sir. The left side. Sir, यहाँ पे left side, sir. यहाँ पे. Both of you left side. Farhan sir. Both of you left side.
Sir, you're right.
Both of you left side.
Okay.
Okay, Karan, so we're going to ask you.
The book has three storylines that sort of intersect, and this is one of them. It's about a goat herd who's a Kashmiri, and this is from the middle somewhere, but you don't need a backstory. It's fine. Javed had taken a state bus and travelled most of the way, staring out of the frame of his window at the white vistas streaked by shifting patterns of chinar trees. Like a stain, the polluting, overcrowded bus sputtered on through the thin layer of unsullied snow. The Kashmiris, nestled in layers, rode without any sign of remonstrance. Only once were they stopped and made to walk in a single file across an army checkpost. They were asked to wait unmoving in the open as snowflakes collected on their shoulders. The bus was swept for subversive activity. As victimized Javed felt during such episodes of harassment, this journey with his fellow travelers was always an odd comfort for them. The bus wound its way to the town where Javed had a few buyers for his produce. There was rampant construction going on, the air burdened with dust and cement. He sought out his destination, a dairy shop in the main market run by an old enterprising Punjabi businessman. Gulshan Singh had come on his honeymoon in the 70s and astonished by the sheer beauty of Kashmir, had stayed back and set up shop in Baramulla. Until the late 1980s, his luck was flourishing. He had a network of stores across Kashmir, but the rise of militancy had decimated his business to a single outlet. Javed was turning the corner when he spotted his son's older friend Shaukat smoking at a tea stall. Their eyes met. Shaukat stood up in a reflex action of respect and threw down his cigarette. Javed smiled and indicated for him to wait, that he would see him in 5 minutes. Shaukat nodded and sat down with his two companions, who Javed recognized as teachers from a local madrasa. Gulshan Singh greeted his goat milk supplier with tired eyes and a raspy voice. The variety of his turbans, one hue of the rainbow for each day of the week in his early years, were now restricted to gloomy shades. His shop had remained unchanged for 2 decades. The stainless steel containers for milk and the large brass trays for curd were as shiny as always, but his walls had decayed at a pace invisible to him and his regular customers, much like his smile that was now stockaded by wrinkles. Javed Saab, you've been missing. I haven't seen you since Friday. 40 years, and he hadn't lost his accent. Khurram, my son, he's not well, and Javed brought out his produce. He didn't need to vocalize the rest of the thought. It was self-explanatory in the amount he had to proffer. Gulshan Singh looked up with surprise. Is this it? For this week, yes. I need to keep some in stock for Khurram. But this will hardly be enough for 3, maybe 4 customers. The shopkeeper weighed the milk and transferred the contents to his drums. Then he took out his creaking, rusting money box and rummaged in it for some currency and coins. Javed acted as if he trusted the amount he pocketed, but attempted a quick mental calculation. It was less than 100 rupees. Javed bhai, I hope we can have more next time. Yes. Javed's expression betrayed him. Gulshan Singh regretted his reproach. At the tea stall, an unpainted brick hole in the wall, Shaukat waited for his friend's father on the only bench available. When he spotted him, he reached over and picked up 2 steaming cups from the counter. Javed gratefully accepted it and took a seat. He looked around. The stall owner had his nose buried in the Urdu newspaper as a folk program played on the radio. There were no other patrons. How's Khurram, Chacha? The fever comes and goes. Do you have enough medicines? If you want, I can ask the Hakim to... No, Shaukat, I'll manage. Yes, Chacha. I want to tell you something. Once again, Javed scanned for flies on the wall. Listen, Shaukat, I overheard the conversation last evening. Without missing a beat, Shaukat nodded. It was tragic. The army bastards. I'm sure he wasn't... You know that's not what I'm referring to. Javed was stern now, losing patience. Asking him to make himself useful and whatnot. Now listen to me, Shaukat. Listen carefully. I never ever want you near my son talking about such things, about taking this path. In fact, it would be best if you stayed away from him entirely. He paused. Shaukat had that look of defiance that he had seen on the faces of so many Kashmiri teens in the last 30 years. I want him to have a good education. I want him to make something of his life, get out of that village, go into the world, become a man with a legacy. You must understand this is my dream, like every other parent. I cannot have him join your cause, a cause he doesn't even understand yet. I don't want him to throw stones at an enemy that will crush him with their might. We don't want him to throw stones. We are past that point in our fight now. There's glory and money in what we're asking of him. And as for not understanding, with all due respect, Chacha, that is on you for treading with care. Keep Khurram out of this. Tell me everything. I want to volunteer for whatever it is that you're planning with your friends. So that was one chapter. Is that enough? Actually, this is one of the slower chapters. Like the rest of it is a lot of action, and it's more fun to read than to have me say all that.
All right. So, Karan, please have a seat. Now we're going to open the forum to the audience and to the media. Can we please stick to questions about the book? Book-related questions. I've been requested to announce that. So, and I trust we have some wonderful people here. So, fire away, guys. Farhan and Karan are right here. Does anyone want to ask a question? We have a few plants in the audience. Don't worry. Oh, Saumil, yeah, he was our first one. Yeah, okay, right. There we go. Thank you.
Any part of the book that was your favorite, that you enjoyed writing the most?
I really liked writing the bits which were my thoughts on what's going on and what the issues are, and actually sort of building them up as like an expose, which I feel is because of all the propaganda that we have going on that people don't know enough of, and I just wanted to put that stuff in as clear a manner as possible and bring that out, and that was for me, and use the best metaphors that I could find for it. So for me, that was really the fun part, or the best part.
All right. Karan's dad is here. He would like to ask you something. Okay. Yes, he's right here. He'd like to ask you something. All right.
Okay, so what was the process? What was the most difficult part in writing this?
I'm pretty sure it was finding the time. I think was the toughest part of writing, and I had a lot of time for a long time, and suddenly it's all happening together. So it's a big premium right now. I mean, I'd love to have watched Mindhunters, but I haven't been able to even get to Netflix this year.
I'm Karan's uncle, elder brother of
You
Manju.
guys look similar.
Yeah, that's right. So within a year, Karan, a movie, a tele-series, and a web series, and of course a novel. 3 of the best genres of creative output that one can imagine. What next?
Nothing's next, just some more of the same. But of course, it all didn't happen in 1 year. I mean, there's a process. It takes a long time to actually for it to come together. I mean, the writing has been on for a couple of years, on and off. The series took about a year to write and then a year to make it. Films take a lifetime, I think.
Chalo, we are proud of you, yeah. Come on.
Thank you.
All right, we have a question. Oh, we have a lot of questions. Okay.
Hi, Kay.
Hi.
Not that I've read the book, but I just wanted to say, after you've completed the book, was it some kind of a catharsis? What was the feeling?
I really haven't had time to reflect on that yet, so I'm just sort of soaking it up right now. It is great to have finished writing a book. It's always been my childhood dream to do that. Like I have been trying to write and abandoned hundreds of books, even if there were a few lines to begin with. So it is a big moment for me personally, yes. More than, I think, making a film.
Okay, thank you.
Auntie, you want to say something? Okay, sorry. Auntie doesn't want to say anything. Okay. There's Rishi here.
Okay, so I believe we were just talking earlier. You were telling me how you spent some time in Kashmir. Is there something you'd like to share that you experienced there that the rest of us probably never will? You know, having spent the time there, the inside edge, so to speak.
Well, when I was researching the book and I was in Kashmir, I met lots of interesting people. Like, besides the usual thing of interacting with the common folk and hanging out with them as much as possible, I also try to break into the upper echelons of political circles and people who are connected with the politics of it and who sort of have run the state, so to speak. Like, and that was amazing for me. Like that's like we kept at it. Like I went with a colleague and just trying to get information out of them in as subtle a manner. And then finally, like we spent a couple of weeks, and finally at the end of it, it all sort of came pouring out one evening, and that really forms the core of what the philosophy is of the book, which is like the expose I was talking about, in a sense where I just feel that anyway. So there was many things we learned on that journey, like the kind of corruption that goes on, and the levels of that we are,
So it is as bad as we imagined.
it's much worse.
मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे है, लाइक ही ऑलरेडी अनाउंस कि इनसाइड एज का सेकंड सीजन भी बन रहा है, सो कब स्टार्ट हो रहा है, कब प्रोसेस स्टार्ट होगा?
The writing is still going on, but it'll start very soon. They are currently busy with another series as we speak. तो पहले वो हो जाए, and but it's in the wings. It is being prepared. So I mean, I would imagine at some point next year that they will start filming that.
आपसे जानना चाहूँगी बिकॉज सम ऐसा होता है जब भी कोई बुक लॉन्च होती है तो उस पे बेस्ड कोई फिल्म भी बनती है मोस्टली, तो क्या आप इस बुक पे कोई फिल्म बनाना चाहेंगे अगर मौका मिले आपको? तो
यार इस बुक पे इन्होंने खुद फिल्म नहीं बनाई, आप मुझसे पूछ रहे कि मैं फिल्म बनाना चाहूँगा। हाँ अगर मौका मिले, लेकिन ये बिल्कुल सही कहा उन्होंने कि मतलब जो इस वक्त जो एक आज़ादी है क्रिएटिवली कि आप वेब सीरीज़ पे बना सकते हैं चीज़ें, वो इस वक्त फिल्म में अनफॉर्चुनेटली नहीं है। और बिल्कुल सही कहा कि ऐसा होना नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि एक अच्छा रेटिंग सिस्टम होना चाहिए, लोगों को लगना चाहिए कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ ऑडियंस इज सूटेबल टू वॉच अ पर्टिकुलर काइंड ऑफ फिल्म। तो होपफुली जब वैसा एक माहौल क्रिएट हो, देन पीपल विल बी वेरी एनकरेज टू मेक मोर एंड मोर स्टोरीज एंड टेल स्टोरीज दैट आर have more courage, are more brave. So I do completely agree with him about this. और अगर ऐसा एक वक्त है तो मैं क्या मतलब ये खुद बनाएंगे, hopefully I'll be producing it for him.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a near fictional character like Padmavati and the kind of controversy that's happening around it, which is such a non-controversy, it's nothing. It's just like, what's the big deal about something like this? And look at what's happening around us for something that happened 1,000 years ago. What will happen if we go and get into a controversial thing about a current subject?
Farhan, like he spoke about it, what is your viewpoint about the controversy that's happening about Padmavati?
Farhan, also adding to that, News and S. Durga, they have been pulled out by the IMD ministry. They were supposed to be screened at IFFI.
I've said this. This is not about just those two films or just about the film that you mentioned. This has happened in the past with many films. And every single time it's happened, I mean, I have spoken up very openly and said that it should not. I'm totally against anything being banned. There are films that are banned. Even people who ban the films that you all are talking about protest that why have these films been banned? So it's just like a tit for tat banning that's going on. But I genuinely believe, and I have always believed, that we should stop treating our audiences as children. We should allow them to grow. We should allow them to be exposed to different kind of ideas, to countercultures, to counter thinking. It's very important for the development of any nation, for there to be viewpoints that are not always agreeable by a majority. And the majority, because you're in cinema, there is no such law that exists where if a film releases, come what may, you have to go and see it. There is no such law. You have the freedom to boycott the film. You have a freedom to spread messages to tell people to boycott the film. But what you don't have is to threaten. You don't have the freedom to go and threaten somebody with grievous bodily harm or break somebody's theatre or cause damage in any kind of way to anyone, and that's where unfortunately the line has not been drawn very, very clearly enough. We as the film industry are dependent on the CBFC to tell us what is okay and what is not. We've accepted that. Beyond that, once it has been cleared by that board, I think it is up to then the government, the INB ministry and the government to protect your film and to protect the filmmakers. That's what I've always felt, and that's what I feel even about these films.
Like you branched out in, direction, acting, producing. Will you?
I would like you to ask him a question.
No.
This is fun.
See you as an author. Will we see you as an author?
I don't have any such plans yet of writing a book. Like he said, he's grown up with this fantasy of wanting to write a book, a dream of fantasy, no dream of writing a book, and he's fulfilled it. Hopefully there'll be many more to follow this, because it usually happens when you manage to do one, you somehow find the impetus to do it more and more. My dream always had been to make films, and to be a part of the film world. And I'm thoroughly grateful and fortunate for things that have come my way in that. So no, to answer your question now.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
After CBS, it's the responsibility of the government, of the ministry to protect films and of course filmmakers. But when the one who is doing the same is INB ministry, is the government taking the call of pulling out films, what do we do? What do artists do in that case? Where do we go?
We fight, we protest, we not take that lying down, and we stand up for our creative rights.
See, it has happened in the past. There have been films that have been banned. The filmmakers have taken it to a tribunal where then it has been cleared. It has happened. It may be painful, it may take time, but it will happen. So I mean, eventually it's important, I feel, again, for film fraternity to come together on these issues, stand together on these issues. Unfortunately, we have also ourselves to blame. We should not only keep pointing fingers at other people. There's been a lack of unity when it comes to these things. Everyone gets scared when it's their film on the line. And that's very, very unfortunate, because we are working, it's a very small industry, if you think about it. There's not that many people, so if they don't come together to create an environment where they themselves can function the way that they would like to, nobody else is going to do it for them.
So Karan has a few school friends in the audience, which, oh, okay.
He's been trying to.
Right, oh, okay, come, please speak. Yeah.
Karan, as an author, have you taken a political stand with the book, or have you gone the no man's land way and just...
I wouldn't call it a no man's land way, but the idea is to try and explore things from different points of view and how I interpret them. So when you have a Kashmiri Godhad on one hand and what their life is, what he's sort of going through, but of course it's all dramatized and a lot of it is my imagination. There's also a soldier and his point of view of how things are, how, it's a different kind of indoctrination that happens with the army. So it's their points of view clashing, and how they sort of change and they sort of reach a common space. So that's the story in a sense. So
Is there a clear stand?
well, I have a clear stand that comes out somewhere, but it's not like spelled out. You'll have to sort of find it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, Karan, we have school friend.
Hi, I'm from Jamna Bain News, and I wanted to ask,
I shouldn't have given it.
Take it right back.
why is the book being launched today? I mean, being Children's Day, is it related to
Something
children?
about how we treat our audiences like children. So let's just release a controversial, nice, talking point of a book today. No special reason. Children are amazing. I've dedicated the book to my daughter. She's there's a reason if you want one.
Okay, so this is actually a question because I follow you on Instagram. You went to Cuba. Was that somewhere was that your writing space or creative space or something?
No, it was my only break that year. But you know what? There's so many things about Cuba that were amazing now that you brought it up. Like, it's on the whole censorship thing. It's supposed to be one of those countries where the world is sort of running on the American propaganda about Cuba and what they, how the citizens are being, there's so many restrictions on news and media and all of that, and the whole socialist take on things. But Cuba is nothing like that. It's a fantastic place. It's got, everyone is literate. There is zero crime. It's not and I just find that there's a lot more freedom, not only of expression, but also just in their personal lifestyles of people, much more than India has. So it was a real eye opener for trip that way.
Okay, one last question. You have to kind of wind.
Karan, you said that you spent time in Kashmir. So, did you learn about stories of human rights violation which have, I mean, time and again, come? I mean, they have been reported because of army. So, what's your perspective on that?
There's a lot of that perspective in the book, so I'm just gonna let you guys get a copy and find out.
Okay, there's a very special person in the audience, which I'm sure he wants to ask you something or say something. Said Saab, I have to give you the mic to just, you were our #1 plant. Okay, so yeah, please, go for it.
Okay, I'm the #1 plant. No, I've read your book, and I just want to say that besides the questions, I think are very good, very important questions, but I just found your book an act of immense courage. And I really say that because you have taken on an issue which, given its circumstance, can be, can take on all kinds of emotional hues, and it can become jingoistic, can become all kinds of things, and you have actually plunged into it in a manner which I think is incredibly well done. And to me, it's an act of courage, because the people who read this book, I think a questioning process will start in their mind, which is also very, very important. And as you mentioned earlier, it can't be made into a film right now under these circumstances. But as a book, well, really, it's an act of courage. And Farhan, your statement, well done, really.
All right.
So, one second, Alex,
yeah,
I just
sorry.
want to say something. I just want to acknowledge Saeed Saab's immense contribution in all aspects of my life, especially about my philosophy of and take on things. He's been a true mentor throughout, and he's someone I absolutely have always looked up to. Thank you so much, and it's because of people like you and Dad and Farhan who have been supportive in so many ways of ideas that are not the norm, of trying to ruffle some feathers, stir up some things, that I am what I am. So thanks, guys.
Okay, we have a very special lady in the house who would like to just say a couple of words. Arey, Anuradha, where's your daughter? Anuradha's Karan's wife, she's here. Where is Zoe? Because the book actually starts with it's for Zoe.
Yeah.
Right? So, Zoe, what is this?
Oh man.
Dil Chahta also happened in the world, and there was this one award function that you were at, and you just won an award. And Karan would never do something like that. I've known him for donkey's years, but he had actually come up to you, and he had told you that, Farhan, this for me is the movie of the year, and this is going to genuinely change things for the entire industry. So congratulations and well done. And do you remember any of that? Oh, okay, okay, doesn't. But yeah, but that happened. But I wanted to say that to you. So anyway, we have Mr. One last thing which we need to do, ma'am. Please. Oh, there's one more question. Okay, last. Come.
Hi Karan, I'm from JNK only, and just curious about this, that you have been in Kashmir, and I just want to know what you have experienced which I've never heard before and wanted to put in this book but couldn't put in this book.
I mean, all the fun stuff is not there in the book. The
No,
experience.
but apart from that, I mean, which you really wanted but couldn't, that
No,
it
there
will
was. I didn't
create
hold
a-
myself back at all. It's all there.
Okay.
Yeah. So please go for it.
All right. So, Reena, am I going to ask you? Even you have one more question. Arey. Oh, okay, from the editorial.
Hi Karan, why fact and fiction? Why not just fiction?
Yeah, I think facts are great, but they just, everyone knows what happened. Like, so my opening chapter, for example, it has Hari Singh signing over Kashmir to India in what is a 2-page document. It's amazing, this document, if you guys haven't seen it. It's just like typewritten with 2 pages, and it says I, and there's a dash. It's like Hari Singh, Maharaja, so and so, hereby sort of giveaway dash JNK to dash India as opposed to Pakistan, and that's it. That's all that we have going as whatever, a legitimacy of over Kashmir in that sense. Like, so, and when that signing happened with VP Menon there, who was the one man instrumental in going to all the princely states and convincing their leaders to hand over their bids to India. He was there, and that's recorded history. But you know, all of these things have loopholes. Like, you don't know who was at that point. So I've just put in like Nehru. What if he went, and what if that never got reported, because he wanted to make sure that his home state, you know, comes to India, and I've fully dramatized and sort of fictionalized what might have transpired. No one really knows, right? That is the norm now. I think all biopics or anything sort of coming out, there is that whole dramatization. It just makes things more interesting and lively. But you know, I didn't feel the need to stick to like a very fact-based sort of narrative. But yeah, I mean, obviously you don't go crazy. You don't paint a picture that was completely untrue.
Okay, so Reena, like to close it up for us. Yeah.
Time for gifts. I request Vijay Thakur from our team to felicitate our guests. Thank you, Mr. Akhtar. It's an honor to have you with us. Karan, thank you for writing a courageous book. Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Alif. You've been a wonderful audience, and we thank you for being with us today. Karan is going to be present at the bookshop, and he's going to personally sign the copies, and it's the right time to grab them right after Alif finishes. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Refreshments will be served shortly. So thank you very much. That was lovely. Thank you, Farhan, for being here with us, and cheers, Karan.